What's up, traders? Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I'm Ben, your daily trader and analyst.
And I'm Kagan, your other trader and analyst.
If you're new here, we pretty much teach our unique style of trading that will hopefully help you become a profitable trader in the markets. So
Yes.
this video today is going to be a weekly breakdown of Euro USD. I already have my charts marked up, and Kagan here is pretty much going to ask questions that you guys might have along the way. So
I'm
hopefully
kind of
that is
like doing
helpful.
a little interview style type of setup.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. Pretty much what I'm seeing right here on Euro USD is that we are currently in a bear market. However, I'm eventually looking to buy Euro USD back up this week if Euro USD presents the opportunity. So let's get right into the breakdown here. Starting from over here, I saw that price had a peak reset. Post peak reset, I saw price has impulsed 3 times to the high. Once price has impulsed 3 times to the high, I saw internal structure, then impulse 3 times to the low here, which then allowed price to pop up and then sweep liquidity here, which has sustained this long seller's market for quite some time. As we can
So
see,
what, why is it important that it spiked 3 times and went down 3 times?
so what I call these three individual spikes or impulses in the market is price cycle inducement. Price cycle inducement kind of allows me to see where a bearish market might turn bullish or vice versa, where a bullish market might turn bearish. I would definitely backtest this method. It is part of ICT. It is part of Beat the Market Maker. And I'm not sure if Rem goes over it, but perhaps he does. I'm not quite sure though. To get right back into the video though, what I am currently seeing now is that price broke all this liquidity, right? All of this now is becoming one big chunk of liquidity, right? All this I see needs to be taken out. However, I see on the left here that all this liquidity as well also needs to be swept. That's why you see I didn't pull any POIs from this area here because I believe that this is all inducement to this imbalance right here. I would assume that once it comes into this imbalance, am I going to take an instant entry? Absolutely not. But it is a POI and it is an area where I'd be looking for buys. Now, to look a little bit more introspective into this area here, what am I seeing? I'm seeing that we also had a peak reset here, and we had 1, 2, 3 hits to the low. After we had 3 hits to the low post peak reset, I saw that price is now chopping. A term I like to use, or saying I like to use, is after 3 cycles of drop, the market must chop. And once the market chops, usually we see a stop hunt of that chop before the price begins to move the opposite way. Now, what else am I seeing around this daily perspective as well? I'm also seeing all this liquidity build up in the form of a falling wedge, right? Now that we have this falling wedge, I not only see that we have swept this falling wedge to induce buying, right? Not only do I see 3 price cycle inducements to the low tell me that we can start buying, not only do I see this liquidity that needs to be swept before buying here, but I also see somewhat of equal distant highs as well right here. These equal distant highs are telling me that we can at least aim for this portion of the market in case price decides to react off this OB here. I would ignore all of this information here on the daily chart. I do not believe that price will react off of these areas to go lower. What else is confirming that? Well, I also see on the TDI that we have a divergence in price. This divergence then makes this area of price act as liquidity, right? As these equal highs make all this area act as liquidity.
And so
From
why is something acting like liquidity important?
We want to know where the true areas of liquidity are because liquidity in the market is going to tell us where price is going to sweep and where the true mitigation of price is going to occur. So in this case, I know that our true mitigation might happen somewhere around this area. I will not know until price comes to this area for a reaction because price could just as easily take out these highs as we also have some sort of deviation going on right here. And this
Right.
sweep right here also becomes a liquidity target.
Got it.
Hopefully this macro perspective right now makes some sense. If you have further questions, feel free to visit our Instagram journal at seisners.trading.journal, and you'll be able to connect with us there. and or leave some comments in the comment section and we'll try and get back to you. Now to
Yeah.
get a little bit more introspective onto this weekly breakdown, let's go ahead and move in to the 4 hour. I did not mark everything up here. All right, you can see in some other previous breakdowns, other parts of this breakdown. However, I do not want to give every single way that I read price delivery away. That would make it too easy for you guys. I want you guys to see what you're seeing here, back test it, learn from it, and then if you have further questions, DM me on Instagram, and I will get back to you literally as soon as possible. I'm scanning the DMs constantly. But to go ahead and tell you what's going on here, a lot of people are seeing this order flow, right? And a lot of people are assuming, oh, this order flow looks great. As soon as it comes to this area, I want to sell. Now, can price have a reaction here? Absolutely, because I'm seeing all this liquidity here and this specific chart pattern that is broken out, all acting as inducement to this POI here. Sure, that makes quite a lot of sense from that perspective. However, what am I seeing from a larger perspective here? I'm seeing that this high is relatively as high as this high. What is that? That is EQD, equal distant highs, right? And when we have equal distant highs like that, that is telling me that all this order flow is actually acting as liquidity rather than it being a valid POI to sell off of. If we do get a valid reaction from this area, then we could perhaps go onto the 1 minute and find a refined entry. But I would not be looking for instant entries around this area. If we sweep this daily point of liquidity, perhaps we can also start looking for entries. And especially if we sweep this 4 hour liquidity as well, we can also start looking to go short. But as of right now, what I'm seeing is from a 4 hour perspective, I drew in this trend line, I drew in this trend line. We can see that the market has been respecting both sides of the trend. So what's currently going on here is that the market is squeezing, right? And because the market is squeezing, I really don't want to be looking anywhere internally here. I do talk about time as a confluence. If you do want to learn about that, again, DM me on Instagram. I do not want everybody knowing exactly how I trade because as you know, if everybody's trading the same style, that style will eventually deplete and it will stop working. So if you want inside information on how I trade, then you got to DM me personally. But anyways, if you watch all these videos and you back tested it yourself, there's, I can pretty much understand that you could have a pretty much good understanding of how to trade, how I trade as well. But anyways, right. I'm seeing this trend line coming down. I'm seeing this trend line coming up. I'm seeing price squeezing, right? But what I'm noticing and what I'm really looking at here is that price has swept this trend right here, right? Because price has swept this part of the trend, this may validate this OV for price to go higher. We may not need to sweep these lows in order to go higher. Overall, my favorite buys are right down here. Why? Because all of this is daily liquidity that needs to be swept. All right, so if I'm assuming that my main buy area is right here, then from an intraday perspective, I'll be looking for sells around these areas here, and then this area becomes invalid. Now, Ben, people are probably asking me, Ben, why are you saying that all of these POIs are pretty much valid? I mean, all of them are pretty much valid. It's just a matter of building your narrative, right? You got to understand how time, how magic minutes, how all these things are coming into play in order to validate a POI. Perhaps if this one gets touched first before this one, then all of this is invalid. But if this gets touched before this one, then all of this becomes invalid, right? Okay. Build your narrative. Look at structure too. We see on the 4-hour chart that the 4 hour is building bullish momentum. We spiked below these lows, right? All this liquidity got taken out and we can assume that price is trying to move higher. But now that we're on a new week, this is now previous week lows. So now we can assume that, okay, now that it's the new week, it's Monday, maybe these previously week lows need to go in order for price to go higher, right? Now that we have an understanding from a macro standpoint of where price needs to go, let's move into the 15-minute. And what are we seeing? We are seeing that price is constantly moving down. Price here is moving down, right? We see that there is EQD here, which may invalidate these POIs. We see that price has clearly swept liquidity. We have clearly swept Frankfurt previous day or singular day lows over here, which may actually bring validation to this POI. We also understand that the Asian session becomes inducement to this POI, which may in fact cause buying in this area. Are we going to instant entry these buys? Absolutely not. We need to figure out a way to find confirmation bias. And once we find confirmation bias, we can then start looking to buy. Go ahead.
So do you ever actually do an instant entry, or is it usually, having to look into it more?
Most of the time, I do look for instant entries. And, I disagree with a lot of traders out there saying that you always need a 2 to 3 pip stop, right? I mean, as much as we all want those stop losses, I focus more on being right? There's something I've learned from a bunch of traders that I've learned in my 10 years experience of doing this. I'd rather focus on being right and getting a good trade, even if it's a 1 to 3 RR versus a 1 to 20, right?
Mm.
It's better for my psychology personally. I mean, this game is not just about how well you can analyze. I think I provide pretty sound technical analysis and I know how to do it. I don't provide everything in these breakdowns. However, a lot of what trading is psychology, right? And
And
it's
so, have you read any books, you would recommend to people about
uh,
the psychology in the
absolutely
trading?
my favorite one would probably have to be the Market Wizards or
Okay.
stock the stock operator. One of those two. They talk heavily about psychology, and they pretty much talk each hedge fund manager as well. Each person that's been a trader pretty much talks about their style and how psychology was 80% of how they trade. And if you look it up online, the internet even says 80% of trading is psychological, and that's
Right.
very, very true. Because a lot of people are going to see these POIs, understand this analysis clearly. However, they're going to come back to me and be like, Ben, I lost all my money. That's because you were probably either over trading, you did not stick to your trading plan, your risk to reward wasn't good for your psychology. There's numerous factors that
Right.
could affect your trading. And Kagan, after you've been with me for now 2 years, I remember your biggest issue was also psychology and not the analysis part, and that pretty much goes for anybody in my opinion. But
No, I mean, that definitely makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, just to finish off this analysis, we see on the 15-minute chart that we have this trend line coming in. Trend lines usually show us that all of this is acting as liquidity. So we can expect the price to completely take out the trend, right? Because all of this is liquidity. So once we tap into this POI, yeah, we expect all this to get taken out. Now, let's say price didn't come into this right away and actually hit this first, right? Then we can still expect the sells to pretty much happen. But once it taps into here, we need to figure out if we want to take this or not, right? And that's
Hmm.
also based off of a confirmation entry. Well, hopefully this analysis gave you a good perspective of what we're looking for this week. Again, we want our overall main buys to happen in this area here, if they do so come to happen. And if price reacts accordingly, then we also expect them to happen in this area here. And remember, this order flow does not look great to me, in my opinion, due to there being equal distant highs. But again, I hope all this analysis and how we use chart patterns, how we use trend lines, how we use structure, how we use indicators, right? We even use, you can see right here, the 5,200 moving average to find deception in the market. Now,
Right.
I know there are no other traders using this methodology because I've pretty much figured out this stuff myself just after going through so many different mentors. I've had about 6 different mentors in my past, and I've been staring at charts for 10 years. So I want to say that my experience puts me ahead of others. However, if you constantly watch my videos, you're probably going to gain 10 years experience of trading and probably just a couple videos. So I
Yeah.
hope this video helped. If this video helped with your trading, if you like some of the trading or analysis that we're doing, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. It helps us a ton. And we hope that you learned something new.
Yeah. And we will be updating our Instagram with, the trades that we take tonight throughout the week. And so look out for those as well.
Yeah, be sure if you want to contact us, our Instagram is at seisners.trading.journal, and we are happy to talk with you. All
Yeah.
right.